Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Citizen Sleeper 2, where today we just have a ton of stuff on our plate. Listen, there are important things such as fixing my frame or whatever, but I'm trying to be efficient here. We're trying to just sort of get everything done in a nice loop so everybody's needs get serviced, and we'll get to the dissolution of my physical form or whatever when there's time. So, I believe we have almost explored the hollow core here, right? Let's finish this off. I guess I may as well use the 5. Let's guarantee that this gets done. You can find your way around the hollow's strange architecture well enough to get what you need. And we have discovered the final location, the signal ship. The signal ship gathers broad-spectrum signals from across the debris field. Sorting them is too much work for just the crew, although we're certainly no good at that. We can help them align their arrays, I guess. This is specialist work that we're kind of okay at now. Sort of, basically. And aside from that, yeah, this is not really... nothing else really to uncover here. Well, we can certainly help with these repairs. They don't want any of the raw scrap that we have. Obviously, we do still need to get to the scatter yards. That's right, we have a contract. That's the thing. I was trying to remember. Oh, long day. Long day, y'all. Alright, this is it. The first beacon in the trail that leads to the Aphelion Path's fraction drive. Eugen is eager to get there ahead of the singers and anyone else, and it does seem like a good idea. So, before we do that, the rest of these dice we should spend. Let's definitely throw like a 3 and a 4 should be okay in here. This just being risky. Oof. Minus energy. I've heard that a drifting conway munition may have been responsible for the damage to the pole. I wonder if we only get progress on this on a positive. Okay, no, a neutral is fine. I just need to roll a little bit better than I did before. Oof, we're out of energy already. Well, let's go grab a meal. 15 cryo's not so bad. And we may as well refill our supplies the rest of the way here. And then, yeah, I think we're good to... The price of whiffing that die roll is really not that high. Part of me kind of wants to just go for the 50-50 on the neutral result. Yeah, like minus an energy, but plus 5 cryo is really not that bad. I am willing to spend all of our dice here. Alright, and then with that, to the beacon. Eager to get there ahead of everybody else, Eugen is non-negotiable. And then we must consider. So, Junie's only got the one skill, and it's a skill that we are only a single point behind on. Bliss can cover us on Diamond, which is the thing that we are extremely bad at, right? So I think it makes more sense to bring Bliss as a counterpart to Eugen here. I think. Yeah, alright, let's do it. Alright, we're coming up on the beacon site now. Seraphin brings the ship into place. Signal's pretty weak, though. He turns in his chair. Which is what you get for chasing 10,000 cycle-old leads that got a lot of people killed. Since you explained the situation to Seraphin, he hasn't gotten any more enthusiastic about the job. Especially as it's a job that comes from Eugen. Seraphin shuts down the engine and turns to Eugen. Time for you to go have a poke around in those rocks. He waves a hand at the scattering of asteroids. Enjoy. Eugen barely seems to notice the sarcasm. A kind of fixed determination has come over him since you left the Hollow. It's not something you've seen before. Alright, let's suit up and find the beacon. He pats you on the shoulder. Now, Luis said it's the first of a trail, so the faster we locate this one and get ourselves pointed to the next, the better. Enough messing around. He kicks off and glides out of the cockpit, heading straight for the airlock. Not the most attractive of locales, Bliss smiles as they nod toward the sparse gray rocks. But we should keep our eyes open anyway. Those that leave trails like to leave traps, too. I've never worked on a faction drive before. If this thing turns out to be real, I call shotgun on digging around in its guts. They wink and follow Eugen. Yeah, you and Junie can fight over it. It's just you and Seraphin left in the cockpit. He taps at his console, ignoring you. So, you think this is a bad idea? Seraphin turns. Me? He mockingly puts a finger on his own chest. Look, he gets serious for a second. People have been searching for this thing since the Solheim collapse. That's a lot of desire directed at one hidden drive. Objects like that tend to get people in trouble. Seraphin sighs. At least, in my experience. So, take it slow, and keep your eyes on Eugen. Seraphin turns back to the console, busying himself with diagnostics. You turn and leave the cockpit, your mind on the beacon and the trail that should, all being well, end at a ticket out of the entire system. Boy, everybody sure does love to remind us that Eugen might not be trustworthy. Alright, so let's have ourselves a search. We actually rolled pretty alright here. Or at least everybody has at least one die that's pretty alright. And given how good our push is now, that means we're in actually really good shape. Alright, the beacon's location is masked by debris or radiation or something. You'll have to search it out to find the path ahead. Well, start with a quick rock search. Rather than messing with signals, maybe we just, look at all the rocks in the area. Makes sense to me. Despite the debris, a direct search is proving faster than scanning the region. Do I want to throw my 3 at this? Well, I guess let's commit Eugen as well. So we're just hopping around here, looking at each of the rocks. This is not a good spot for Bliss. It would be really cool if we could wrap this up between the two of us. So let's go ahead and throw my 3 at it. I don't know. We're not likely to get it. Okay, that's pretty good though. I'm going to go ahead and push. And we're going to hope Eugen is able to finish it. If we get the positive result here, we may get to use Bliss's very good dice on something a little bit more appropriate to their skill set. Okay, lucky us. We hit the 1 in 4, and so, the trail of the beacon. Yes, we do in fact have an Intuit available, which is good news. This beacon contains the coordinates for the next beacon in the trail. Just need to extract them. The site where the beacon is planted shows signs of a ship landing and excavation. Perhaps analyzing the remains would help. Yes, perhaps. The scorch marks from the ship's drive seem to indicate a direction of onward travel. Alright, keep getting the math there. And then the question, do I want to throw some dice at Decrypt Signal, given that it is only risky? The neutral result here is probably not that bad. Let's give it a swing. There seems to be data hidden in the beacon's signal. Could it be the location of the next step in the trail? Well, I mean, probably stress is the penalty, right? I actually don't really want to take another point of stress. I guess we can call that. That's a lot for the first day. We can call that okay. Alright, wow. Once again, pretty decent rolls. Alright, so we'll spend this, and Eugen is minus on everything here. Yeah, I guess I'll throw another 6 at it myself. Wait, negative outcome. Did I throw... Oh, I put a 6 down on the wrong thing, and we got extremely unlucky with it. Cool. Good. Alright, thank you. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking. My head was already in the next thing, and I didn't notice that I was putting it in the wrong slot. We're in. Eugen nods at the data port, deep inside the body of the beacon. He loves... Somebody had to say it, right? He peers through his suit's faceplate at it. You have part of the plating removed, and you're pretty sure you have access to the coordinates you need. All that's left is to slot a drive. I've got this. Eugen takes out a thumbnail drive and slots it. Easy as can be. A smile flickers across his face. You peer into the beacon. It has been a delicate job getting the security access and the system knowledge to find the coordinates for the next step, but it all seems to have passed without incident. Or has it? Got it. Eugen pulls the drive and thumps you on the shoulder. Let's head to the next one. Look alive down there? Seraphine's voice comes over the comms. We got a ship on approach. We need to make ourselves scarce. You and Eugen exchange looks. Oh, the singers. You kick off and glide toward the ship, but Eugen goes in the other direction. You wonder what he's doing for a second, and then you see it. He arrives at the beacon and immediately begins laying into its metal shell. He pulls a tool from his suit's belt and caves in the beacon with an anger that chills you. When he's done, the beacon is just another chunk of debris in the shoals, and he joins you in the cockpit. Seraphine gives you a look, but doesn't say a word. He just silently taps in the new coordinates. You look across at Eugen, his expression fixed and his eyes cold. Then Seraphine fires up the drive. I feel like there is an attempt being made here to characterize that as rougher than it is. A shrill bleep wakes you up from your stargazing. What was that? Seraphine looks around the cockpit as warning lights and sirens sound all over the ship. The terminal screens flicker, some of them not coming back on. You hear a groan from somewhere deep in the ship. Some kind of pulse. An energy weapon? Seraphine slaps the side of his flickering terminal until it stabilizes. On it, you see a red dot moving further away from the center of a circle. A ship is accelerating away. Seraphine taps at his console, bringing up the transponder information. He turns to Eugen with a hard stare. It's Vesna. Eugen shakes his head. Yeah, got it in one. Seraphine grits his teeth. The limb hound, registered in the far spindle. He slams his fist on the keyboard. Okay, how did she find us? How? Because Eugen is a sloppy operator, that's how. Seraphine shakes his head and starts working on the drive system. And now we're stranded. She knocked out our drive. She must have been waiting for us. We'll need to get it activated as quickly as we can. Eugen is up from his seat, peering out the window at the large rock floating just outside. Oh, the beacon has to be there. Vesna cracked it and then waited for us to catch up. She was trying to dissuade us. Well, she's doing a great job. Seraphine scrolls through layers of drive diagnostics. Give up now? Eugen glances at you. We're so close. No, we can handle this, right? Eugen's right. Seraphine sniffs, but says nothing. The singers are out there, too. If we're lucky, they'll cancel each other out. Eugen goes to leave the cockpit. We decrypt the beacon and fix the drive. No distractions. Eugen kicks off and glides out of the cockpit towards the airlock. The drive is likely just a system problem. Blitz gives you a serious look. We isolate the fault and it shouldn't be an issue, but it isn't going to happen fast. Look, Seraphine turns in his seat. We're in this now. No way back, only forward. But the moment this goes south, and it will, I'll pull you out and we are leaving, whether Eugen wants to back out or not. Seraphine meets your eye. He's serious. Look, we're not leaving Eugen. What I'm saying, Sleeper, is you won't be given the choice. Seraphine turns back to his console. This, as far as he is concerned, is your problem to fix. Okay, so fixing the drive is going to take engineering and endurance work. Won't be getting far with a disabled drive. And then also there is, of course, the beacon trail. I mean, I'm definitely inclined to spend resources on the beacon trail first, obviously. It is a bit of a shame that, like, Eugen is, he's dragging you along on this quest where he's, like, completely useless at every step of it. Alright, yeah, let's do some work here. The final vector is contained in this beacon, the last hurdle before you reach the faction drive. Let's get one of these in. The beacons are becoming familiar, which means a little rewiring might help reveal the coordinates faster. Bypassing security systems by rewiring around them is surprisingly effective. And then I'll throw my own 5 at this as well. Probably the 4 too. Yep. Small progress, small progress. Okay, can Eugen do some decent work on the drive? His dice are only good at the danger check, unfortunately. Well, I feel relatively comfortable putting my 3s down on this forced startup at least. Or my 2s. Forget tinkering with the drive. With no time to waste, physically forcing it to restart might be the best option. Oof, that is a lot of positive outcomes necessary to get that drive kicking again. All right, but we're making some kind of progress. So I'm debating a push here, of course. Bliss gets a 5. Eugen's 1 turning into a 4 still doesn't actually make it any good. Yeah, I don't think we bother. We've got a little bit of time here. Let's just take it easy. Okay. Some stuff to be left, stuff to be desired from these rolls, but we can work with some of it at least. Come on, positive results. That's really annoying. They really are going to make this whole thing go 1 bar at a time, aren't they? Okay, well, my own 3... We're 75% likely to finish it. Okay, there's our positive outcome. You have the vector for the final beacon. Period. Time to end this. And by end this, we mean get the hell out of here. Alright, Eugen and I will just bang on the drive. Okay, not too bad. Put this 3 down here as well. And honestly, I can take the 2 as a 4. That's fine. I don't believe I'm going to be pushing for the purpose of advancing Eugen's 2 to a 5. That seems unnecessary. You know what? Actually, Eugen, why don't you just throw your 2 down there? Yeah, because it's worth a little stress on him. Like, since that has no further consequences. Honestly, being able to bank stress on your allies is really nice. Okay, this should get us there. And one final forced positive result. The raised drive is running once more. There's no time to lose. Let's get the hell out of here. Seraphin punches the final set of coordinates into his console and runs a fresh set of diagnostics on the rig's drive. Everything comes up green. The atmosphere in the cockpit is tense. None of you know what you might be flying into. Eugen's jaw is set, his eyes on the stars and scattered rocks. His goal is in reach. It's not a goal to be underestimated. A fraction drive, one that can take any ship out of the system and beyond. One that can forge a path through the surrogate systems few can take. This is so... I know it's very obviously an intentional choice, stylistic. I don't like it though. It really does rankle on me. Like, there's just so many fragmentary sentences here, so many periods. Freedom, both from this system's politics and the structures of power that dominate the passage of people through colonized space. Those are the same. This thing is that thing. The problem with such a lofty ambition is that it is infectious, seductive. It is desirable enough to draw people out and bring them to their absolute limit. You've seen that in Eugene. The singers, too, are shaped by that desire, and Vesna, the steely-eyed captain, you don't seem to be able to shake. So the thing is, we haven't seen anybody brought to their absolute limit. We've seen Eugene come along with us at as leisurely a pace as we would like to run things, doing basically only exactly what he wants to do. Like, this text really doesn't describe anything about the reality of the situation. I'm still having a good time, and I'm still interested in seeing where it goes, but I do have to say, I feel like the quality of the writing in this one is lower. It is a step down from the first game, for sure. The question is, who will flinch first? Is that the question? Here you are, moored around a remote and airless rock, a scattering of debris concealing an object of great value in a system spiraling into war. We're the last here, Seraphin shuts down the drive, but at least no one started shooting. Well, Vesta would only kill as a last resort. Eugen looks out at the rock. The singers I'm less sure about. Reassuring, Seraphin deadpans. So, what now? We walk out there and start digging? I don't know, what do you think, Eugen? You turn to face Eugen, but he's already gone. Alright, you get after him. Seraphin shakes his head. I'm gonna keep the rig warm. I get the feeling we're gonna be needing it. As you glide out of the cockpit, you hear the airlock cycling. Eugen is already out. You speed up, grabbing a suit and wrestling it on as you head for the airlock. The door hisses open to reveal a sparse landscape. The twisted parts of a facility or ship, corroded beyond recognition, jut up out of the dusty rock. Squinting into the faint and distant sun, you can make out two figures in suits, standing a fair distance apart in the middle of the loose circle of debris. You glide down towards them, specks of loose gravel and decaying metal bouncing off your suit as you do. Now, a voice crackles through your comms as you approach, broadcast over the open channel. None of us want to die out here. You see them now, the two figures, Vesna and the leader of the singers, Peter, facing each other across the dusty plain. Vesna's arm jutting out from her body, her hand resting on an object at her hip. A weapon. Keep your distance, Sleeper. Her eyes flick over to you as you approach. This godforsaken rock is crowded enough as it is. We set foot here first. The claim is ours, by anyone's judgment. Peter speaks calmly and slowly, his arms at his hips and his palms upturned. And I suspect we are also the best equipped to find the fraction drive and put it to use. Anyone's judgment, Vesna scoffs. Who do you see out here to validate your claim? She gestures at the rock-strewn void with one hand, her other firmly on the grip of her weapon. The Sleeper is our witness here. Peter turns slowly to you. I'm sure they'll verify our claim. No, I didn't see who was first. We got here late on account of all the engine sabotage. Vesna laughs. Well, at least someone here still has integrity. You look between the two of them, searching their faces for an intent, an opening, anything. Vesna's ocular implants give nothing away, but the visible tension in her gun arm suggests failing patience. Peter, meanwhile, projects an atmosphere of considered calm, but there is violence behind that benign smile, and a crew of singers somewhere out there in the dark. Okay. Vesna using that weapon will seal your fate is kind of a goofy thing to say. I'm sure Vesna is way more aware of the costs of using that thing than we are. I mean, the drive is mine. We're definitely not dealing with any like who has the rights to it kind of stuff here. It's just I want it, so I'm going to take it. I think that's the thing. I think that's our character too, right? It's that aggressiveness. All right, the drive is mine. Back off, both of you. Vesna raises a single eyebrow above her metal eyes. Then you will have to come and take it. Her arm tenses. The shot is silent, its direction unclear, but its effect is immediate. The side of Vesna's suit explodes in a geyser of escaping oxygen. She spins, clutching at the wound to clamp it closed. As she does, you see the shot grazed her, splitting the suit, but leaving the body beneath intact. You might want to run and get that fixed, Vesna. Eugen slips out from the shadow of a piece of debris at the edge of the circle. He holds a long gun at his hip. Hey, what took you so long? Eugen's eyes are fixed on Peter. All right, let's all stay calm. He moves slowly closer. You son of a bitch. Vesna is doubled over, unable to take her hands away from the hole in her suit without risking immediate depressurization. Eugen draws alongside you, his eyes still on Peter. All right, time to turn yourself around, get in that ship of yours, and go back to wherever the hell you crawled out from. You glance at Vesna. There is a spout of oxygen spewing out from her suit, leaking between her fingers. She doesn't have long. We can't abandon this claim. Peter shows his open palms. For the singers to survive, we must leave this system behind. There's no way for us to support ourselves here. Our moon is gone, eaten up by the war. The belt will be next. You may as well shoot me here if you're not going to let me take the drive. This is my people's future. Well, Eugen shifts his shoulders. If you insist. Sleeper, we have incoming. Like a lot of incoming. You glance at Eugen. He's hearing the message too. A whole load of Conway ships are approaching this location. Conway, what are they doing here? Well, I'm not about to radio and ask them, Seraphin's voice distorts. But it's not hard to imagine the news of this fraction drive has reached farther than anyone wanted. You look across at Peter and see his lips moving, but hear nothing. He's talking to his crew. A moment later, you hear a click as he switches back to the open channel. If you heard what I just heard, then you know we are out of time. Peter looks deadly serious now, his face of diplomatic calm having fallen away. We singers are the only crew who can pull the fraction drive out before Conway arrives. There are more of us, and we have the experience. Let us take it. Don't let it fall into the hands of the system's biggest enemy. Sleeper, here Seraphin hisses over the comms, get back to the rig. No, Eugen cuts in. You aren't sure if he's responding to Seraphin or Peter or both. No, the drive is ours. I have worked too hard and come too far to let it go now. He raises the long gun to his shoulder. You're all insane. Vesna spits out the words, her voice strained and hoarse. I'll leave you to your graves. She kicks off from the rock, arcing toward the crimson shape of the limb-hound. Eugen doesn't even watch her go. You see something flaring in his eyes, a dark drive with no other resolution. Okay. So what do I think here? I am sensitive to Peter's argument, but like, how true is it that, the singer's livelihood depends on this, that they have no way of surviving at all in this system? And how much do I think, the thing they were going to do was beat the shit out of that guy, Luis, and steal the information, and how much do I think maybe they shouldn't be allowed to employ that as a technique? I mean, so my choices are talk him down, tell Peter to back down, or leave Eugen behind. I don't want to leave Eugen behind. I definitely think Peter is overstating the case. I mean, I guess the violence could be read as total desperation. Man. The thing is, I'm trying to imagine how I think this is going to go for Eugen, emotionally. Right? Even if we were able to make a very articulate plea for the reasons that we should just bounce and let Peter have the drive. This is like the only thing Eugen's been here for the whole time, right? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that he is like willing to be a member of the crew, or like this is what he was after. Without this, where do we stand is a very tricky question. But I really don't trust Peter. I think Peter is definitely overstating the case. It is a little bit weird, too, that these are the three options, that you don't have an option that's like, hey, Eugen, like, hurry it up, would you? I'm going to tell Peter to back down. I don't believe that his people are in as dire a state as he is claiming they are. Obviously, they're, like, pretty good at organized crime. And I do think, like, if I get to pick who gets the drive, I'm way more interested in Eugen having it than Peter. Is that just me liking Eugen better? I don't know, maybe, but it's probably good enough. I'm telling Peter to back down. I don't like him. I don't like the singers. Idiots. Peter sighs and clicks out of the open channel. The shot hits Eugen in the shoulder, spinning him back across the circle of scrap. You feel the spatter of debris as another shot zips past you silently, only an inch or two wide. As you turn away from Peter, you see glints of light on otherwise dark shapes near the horizon, the matte black suits of armed singers hiding in plain sight against the darkness of space, and they're everywhere. You glide away from the incoming fire, Eugen spinning ahead of you, the gush of oxygen from his split suit sending him on a wild and dangerous arc. Well, obviously we grab him. You grab desperately, hooking your hand around his flailing arm. The suit's outgassing spins the both of you now, but you manage to reel him in and clamp your hands over the hole. You aim the both of you towards the airlock as another volley of shots spatters you with chunks of rock and metal. You're exposed, crossing the empty space between rock and ship, but you're far from the singers now, and no more shots arrive. Both you and Eugen glide through the open airlock, slamming hard into the interior door. In moments, it is cycled, and you pull off your suits to check for wounds. A few orbs of blood break gently on the ship's interior walls, but Eugen pushes you away as you try to tend to the gash on his shoulder. His face is fixed in a grimace of pain and frustration. You both glide up to the cockpit to find Seraphin rapidly starting the drive. His console screen is filled with red pulses, the signatures of Conway drone ships bearing down on this lonely rock. He glances up as you enter the cockpit, but says nothing. You're thankful for that, at least. This is no time for glib remarks. You take one last look at the Aphelion Path's final resting place, now cloaked in clouds of fresh dust. You think of the singers down there, no doubt already wrenching the fraction drive from its hiding place and onto their ship. Conway's their problem now. And then the drive kicks in and you leave the singers to their fate. So it doesn't feel like any of the things we did or any of the choices we made or anything about the job affected the ending there at all. I think that was always how that was going. Maybe it's possible that it was tracking the number of cycles we spent before arrival, and that if I had gotten that number down, if we'd just gotten done in fewer days, then maybe we would have gotten a different ending. Maybe. The ship is quiet as you dock with the Hollow. No one eager to speak about what happened out there in the shoals. Even Seraphin is silent, tapping away at the engine shutdown with comfortingly routine motions. Eugen has bandaged his shoulder now, a sleeve compressing the wound beneath his clothes. He looks drained and pale, but otherwise you wouldn't be able to tell he'd been hurt at all. You know it will take him some time to come back from this, to extract himself from the hold that fraction drive, the dream, held over him. You wonder if he ever will, or if the freedom that object represented to him will haunt him for the remains of his life. You know at least that now is not the time to try to discuss it, to lay out exactly what happened out there. Eugen will retreat, of course, hiding beneath the glib personality you've come to recognize as his shield. But perhaps as the cycles pass, he will find himself changed. Or perhaps not. Either way, there is much to be done, and this thankless adventure has derailed you enough. Time to get back to work. Okay, so that's the end of the fraction drive line. That's... Well, okay, let the dust settle. We're gonna get a little bit more resolution. I was gonna say, that's a little frustratingly anticlimactic, but I want to be clear that I don't... that's not like a critique. That's not a criticism of the thing. Sometimes, probably, your drives should end in a frustratingly anticlimactic way. Like, it shouldn't be possible for you to always get what you want, or even always compel a pleasing result. Sometimes you're just gonna lose out here. That's like a critical part of the themes, at least of the first game, is that you were like so outnumbered, so outgunned, not outnumbered, but what do I want to say here? Out-resourced? The things arrayed against you are so much bigger and so much more powerful than you are that, like, a lot of the time, despite your best efforts, you absolutely are gonna lose. That's just what that kind of inequitable life is like. And so I appreciate, actually, that this seems to have to end that way. There's nothing you can do to come out ahead against Conway. You just kind of have to accept it. Alright, let us refill on some things. First of all, obviously. Secondly, I can buy fuel somewhere here. Is it at the debris dealer? Yeah, okay. Prices on stuff are pretty rough here, though. We actually have lost a lot of money since we started hanging out in this area. Ugh. All right. I know this is a little early, a little earlier than usual, but unfortunately I am a little pressed for time today, so I think that is going to have to be it for us for the moment. It is a bummer that we weren't able to acquire the faction drive. I am a little curious to see how Eugen's whole situation plays out here. He's going to have to spend some time grieving, and grieving is not a skill that everybody has. So come back next time to find out how he handles it. And we'll see you then.